Frankie Nicole here. Happy full moon day. Hope everybody has not too troubled or not too emotionally charged or not having a terrible day or anything like that. I mean, I wish people to learn lessons, but I don't want them to have to learn them terribly. So I try to tell people along the way, hey, you might want to think about that. So today I wanted to read from my meditations book. A passage that I was reading. It seemed somewhat pertinent. And I brought out my stones again because I thought I'd get some recharge from it. And the funny thing is, so I have a bunch of stones now, which is great because it makes me really happy to have like a variety of things. I mean, I have a lot of tiger's eye, but yeah. I also have a lot of oh my god, I'm blanking on the name right now. Whatever. Purple stone. It's for mental clarity, and it represents the fifth chakra. I'll think of it later, probably. Amethyst. Ha! Ha ha! Thank you, Spirit. Yeah, I definitely got a recharge on my High Priestess battery yesterday, so it was great. I was feeling very powerful. Also, was relearning first aid and CPR stuff, so it makes me extra potent. I'm able to save lives, and which reminds me, last year, I believe it was in June, I went hiking with a friend, and we saved this old man's life. And the craziest part is that he kept, I kind of noticed there was something wrong, and I wasn't quite sure what, but I mean, we had to get him out of there. And he kept telling us over and over again that his daughter had just given birth to a new baby and that her name was Nicole. So then I knew. I knew that this was my mission to save this man's life, because he had to go meet his baby daughter, or his baby granddaughter, and it was just wild. We ran into a black bear, almost got eaten. It was like, I was there at that moment for that specific purpose, with somebody who was with me, who was agreed to, we were ready to save that guy's life. That was, I mean, we did have a bit of a pact that if the bear started coming after us, we probably would have let the guy go. But thankfully, that didn't happen. And I know that's a terrible thing, but I mean, if it's gonna come, if it's too dangerous for us, we weren't gonna sacrifice our lives because, But we tried our darndest and we made it. So I'm gonna light some of this. And so the funny thing is, when I was carrying out my stones, I had them in my hand, and a few of them dropped out of my hand. And it was the money stone, the love and romance stone that I have, and then the other amethyst I have. And it was quite interesting because the full moon is falling into my 5th house, my 2nd house, and my 9th house. And these are, I calculate these by my rising sign, my sun sign, and my moon sign. These are the 3 signs that most affect you as a person. Now, the 2nd house is money, and career, And the 5th house is love, romance, creativity, children, creative projects as well. And the 9th house is philosophy, spirituality, and travel and new horizons. Interestingly enough, since those all fell out, it's like we're talking about endings today, and endings don't necessarily have to be bad. It's not like, oh, something's gonna get cut out of your life. Sometimes it means the end of a period that was difficult. I've definitely been struggling with career for the last year, and it's just been awful. It just hasn't. It's never great when you struggle with your career, and it's never great when you struggle with financial situations. But it really taught me how to detach my value from monetary things. And not feeling like my worth was completely tied into how much money I made or how much money I possessed. Yes, it's very effective in our society to, see that as a thing, because we want to go out and do things. Usually, at least it costs some gas money. Or you can call somebody up and say, "Hey, I need a ride somewhere. Do you want to go somewhere?" For me, I've always been kind of self or self-reliant, self-sufficient, or at least that's what I try my darndest to be, because I don't like to ask people for favors, because it's just not. I know I probably could, and I know that people probably would, but I guess I just feel guilty about it, because I feel like I should be able to take care of myself in a way. And I think that's really something that maybe needs to end, because we're not meant to be completely alone in this world. We have a tribe of people around us that will eventually make themselves known, and that will want to help us regardless of our status, or if we've helped them. And those people are definitely people to be cherished, because not everyone's gonna help you, and not, people are very, and I've helped a lot of people without getting a lot in return, and I feel like I haven't really asked, but I don't really feel like I should have to ask, or that it's my place to ask, because if you're gonna do something to expect something in return, then it's, but if you get to a certain point with somebody and they've abused your kindness, then I think that it's okay to ask for some monetary return, because you're obviously not getting it in a different way. And it's okay to ask what you're worth, because everybody's worth something. Everybody contributes something into something. So I am going to read this passage from my Marcus Aurelius, new translation with an introduction by Gregory Hayes, meditation book. Ancient Meditations. This is number 15, Maximus. Self-control and resistance to distractions, optimism in adversity, especially illness. Person and balance, dignity and grace together, doing your job without whining. Other people's certainty that what he said was what he thought, and what he did was done without malice. Never taken aback or apprehensive, neither rash nor hesitant, or bewildered or at a loss. Not obsequious, but not aggressive or paranoid either. Generosity, charity, honesty, the sense he gave of staying on the path rather than being kept on it. that is no one could that no one could ever have felt patronized by him or in a position to patronize him. A sense of humor. So, on that note, I kind of wanted to talk about just a change in perhaps expansion or understanding or um, wisdom, exploration, higher learning. The ninth house is traditionally ruled by Sagittarius, and it's interesting that um, I'm having an ending of my emotional um, understandings in my ninth house, um, being Capricorn, and so I feel like there is definitely an understanding of um, of resistance to a distraction, optimism, generosity, charity. Because if you've ever felt taken advantage of or betrayed by somebody, and I'm guaranteeing you have, if you've dated somebody in the last how many years, you've probably mistakenly been with somebody who took advantage of your kindness and gave you a position of um, wanting to close yourself off to people because of that one instance, and it becoming your go-to versus having the ability to be open because you're protecting yourself from that damage. You have created a barrier because you need to cauterize the wound. You need to let the pieces heal back. And some wounds are deeper than others, and some keep getting cut and cut and cut because the barriers don't come up quick enough. The lessons still need to be learned. So I believe that there will be a grand healing for all of you in wherever Capricorn falls, in whatever house is for you. And be sure to check your rising, your sun, and your moon sign. Now, there may be some harsh endings in certain ways that are difficult to handle because of the spiritual work that has not been fulfilled or hasn't been completed. But if you do the work and you put in the time and the effort, you will you will find yourself in a place that really pleases you and makes you happy regardless of all the stress that you've had to go through. So on that note, I'm going to switch over to the love cards because endings and also my fifth creative romance house. So I'm hoping that this helps my paintings sell. That would really be awesome. Because, I mean, I had somebody buy one of my paintings before, and it was great, but, you know, how it is with artistic stuff, and it's very hit and miss, and, you know, you really have to put a lot of energy into it, and there's not always the exact return, just with a lot of things. A loving thought triggers a loving response. Your love is felt and appreciated. An angel surrounds you. A sacred union is born. The union of twin souls with threefold flame. So whatever you love in your life, whatever brings you love, will that you put energy into, will bring there'll be a return. What you have invested your love and energy into will return to you. Have you lost sight of what is really important? Remember a time when life was simpler and the world seemed like a gigantic playground. waiting to be explored. Perhaps it is time to rediscover that world together. Go out and play. Ask. Ask of others. Ask of others and expect that, or don't immediately jump to the conclusion that somebody will just completely not or ignore you, because not everybody's like that. Some people they want to enjoy the world, and they want to enjoy it with you. I surrender all negative beliefs that no longer serve me and replace them with loving thoughts and intentions. From this moment, I will listen only to the voice of love. Your love is an endless source of inspiration. Love overcomes all obstacles. A change in attitude is all it takes to turn things around. Trust in love's power. It will transform you and the one you love. All will soon clear. From a physical perspective, some relationships may seem less than perfect, yet from a higher perspective, all relationships are sacred, for they can help us grow in love and wisdom. I think we pulled judgment cards for today, and in the reverse, so don't jump to any conclusions about things. Just see where things go. And then we turn the Six of Pentacles, which is the yes card, or asking for help. So it can be talking about asking for help, in a sense. Like after the Five of Pentacles, where you're feeling left out in the cold and you don't know kind of where to go, and you're kind of missing the missing the light. You're kind of walking by the church and you're too afraid to walk in, and because of your preconceived notions of what people might be in there. You walk in and you're immediately served a hot meal and a warm beverage, and I think that is important to go inside. Leave your pretension, leave your apprehension at the door, and just say, I need a warm place more than I need to worry about if they're going to reject me. Love this wind, huh? Alright. Definitely less egotistical than yesterday. Although I did decide to wear some stretchy pants so that I wouldn't flash you guys again. If you guys saw that, props to you. If you didn't, don't go back and look. By the way, I was wearing pink underwear. So now you don't have to go look. Okay. So we have Justice again, the High Priestess, the Ten of Swords in reverse, and the Five of Swords in reverse. So we have balance, we have equality, we have a good conclusion to something, and a very high spiritual sense of the conclusion. There's a very spiritually sexual conclusion to it. There's a knowing, there's that feeling that you get, the just the understanding before maybe something even transpires, that you're like, I know I'm gonna get this, or I know this is gonna happen, or and you follow your gut intuition, and you say, yes, I believe that that justice will be served. And that is when you begin to detach from emotional things, and you don't get bogged down in thoughts of what emotional understandings that you have about a situation. Well, it couldn't possibly happen because I just feel so terrible about something, it couldn't possibly ever happen. That's the negative belief that you need to surrender right there. I mean, you know, like, oh no, voting doesn't ever change anything, or they make it illegal. Somebody posted that. I'm like, except it does. And if you continue to follow that negative belief, then it won't make a difference for you, because you'll continue to believe that negative thought, and and start and operate under that assumption, and then that assumption will continue to be true for you, because then you either won't vote and it will be true, or you'll vote but you won't vote in the truest sense of your thought, and maybe you'll vote something because you think it'll win and not because you want that to win. We have the Ten of Swords in reverse, so this is getting moving out of a situation where things have seemed to be just done, but it's having all the knowledge now. You've taken all the swords out of the back, and you have them now, and you know how to apply everything that has been thrust into your back. All the pains, all the misunderstandings, the disappointments, everything is now you possess this knowledge, and you can use that knowledge to move forward. And that is actually the beauty of the Ten of Swords. I mean, upright, it's never great. But in reverse, it means that you've taken everything that you know, and now you can apply it. And there's the power of it. And then we have the Five of Swords in reverse. So it's talking about it's like it's like the Ten of Swords in half. So it's like, you know all the lessons now, but sometimes it's okay to be careful with what you speak, and you don't have to completely like run off with your mouth and your thoughts, and fight somebody just because you know everything now. Now you know things, and you have this like psychic understanding that is coming with this, and so you don't have to fight all the fight. You don't have to, because you know it's going to come out anyways. So you can save your energy instead of continuing to fight and feel unjust about something and detach from that, and just know that everything is going to shake out in the end, so you can use the energy that you would have used to fight for a completely different and better venture. So let's see what the punctuation marks are. Interesting. So we have the Ace of Cups in reverse and the King of Wands upright. So there's a bit of stuck in a new emotional beginning. There's stuckness. There's maybe a resistance. Maybe you know all the answers now to something, and maybe you are not going to charge forward into an emotional situation just yet, because maybe that's what you did in the past. And the King of Wands upright, he is very spontaneous, can be romantic, but he's almost a little bit more sexual than romantic in a sense, because he may come at you with ideas that sound great and would be wonderful to do and have an adventure and go be fun, but you still have to remember that there's an emotional component that you require, and that you have the understanding, and you know better now, instead of just jumping into the situation completely open and free like the Fool. You take your past knowledge and understanding, and you apply it, and you say, this isn't exactly what I want, and it's not exactly how I want it, and I'm gonna need to think about it, or I'm gonna need some time, or you can just not answer and just let him sweat it out, because fire people are very, very much about immediate results, and they don't like waiting. They don't like to have to they don't like to always think things through. They like to just jump and go and see where everything lands. That's a lot of fiery energy for you. Fire doesn't ask questions, it explains later. So I think that it's important to regard your higher self, but you don't always have to fight about it. Maybe you bite your tongue. Maybe you are a little bit more silent this time, and you allow the chips to fall where they may. And you let someone else go forth and put forward a little bit of effort and to an understanding or an agreement. Well, it's 25, so I'm going to leave you there. And I thank you for watching. My 30 subscribers. Fantastic. So awesome. You guys rock. And dissenting views, you are free to have your point. I don't agree with it, but you don't agree with me, so there you go. Alright, you guys have a great full moon. It'll last the rest of the day and a little bit on tomorrow as well, so yeah, take it easy.